Feng Shui Calculator application. The application calculates various data that can be useful for Feng Shui specialists when analyzing personality and making various predictions. The application is implemented in two languages, Russian and English. When you start it for the first time, you need to specify the language you want to use. Then you need to specify the location of the database, which will store information on the people whose analysis you plan to do. If you plan to use several programs from the Feng Shui series, it is better to use a common database that is not deleted from the device when the application is uninstalled. The shared database is stored in the Documents folder. Therefore, the application must be given permission to store files in this folder. After making the initial settings, you can watch a video demonstrating the capabilities of the application. Links to videos are provided in the application help. In the future, the settings made can be changed using the menu command of the same name. Interface language settings. Database location settings. If you have installed another application from the Feng Shui series and want to share the current database of the Feng Shui Calculator application, press this button once. Application settings, which you can change in the course of work, depending on the calculation methods used and your preferences. Settings for taking into account the degree of influence of various pillars on the calculation of favorability, harmony, etc. Large values increase the influence of a pillar on the calculation result, lower values decrease. 0 excludes the consideration of the pillar in the calculations. Settings for taking into account different situations in calculations. To return to the initial settings, press the corresponding button. To save the settings, press the V button. Working with the database. If you plan to store information about many people in the database, then you can use grouping. To do this, you need to create several groups to distribute people. To change the information, you need to click on the corresponding line in the list and wait a little until 2 more buttons appear for editing data. Before adding information about a person from the drop-down list, first select the desired group. For each person, you must indicate his name, date of birth, gender and place of payment. To enter a name, just enter its beginning, press enter and if necessary, select the nearest name from the list. If necessary, you can specify the geographical coordinates of the place. Indicate the time and place of birth, if known. In this case, the pillars of the hour of birth and life will be used in the calculations. If known, indicate the mother's gestational age, usually 9 months, to calculate the conception pillar. To save the information, press the V button. To select a person for whom the calculation will be made, select him in the list and press the V button. The left side of the window contains information that corresponds to the date of birth. The calculated date corresponds to the information presented in the right part of the window. To change the calculated date and date of birth, you need to click on the button corresponding to the required part of the date and use the forward or back buttons to change the date. Clock buttons are for quick return to date of birth and current date. Additional information appears when you click on some elements in the program window. A red blinking rectangle warns of special combinations. You can find out what these combinations are by clicking on the element in the red rectangle. Other information can be viewed by clicking on earth elements, punishment names, and star names. Frequently used program settings are contained in the right menu, where you can specify the type of display of the elements. What information will be displayed under the Earth's elements, hidden sky trunks, dominant hidden sky trunks, key phases of the first, second and third degree, number in a 60-year cycle. The full names of the key phases can be seen in the description of the pillars. Configure the merging of the pillars. The names of the merged elements are displayed in capital letters. Which clock to use, constant or variable, depending on latitude. The U-Sin pentagram displays the counted number of elements for the date of birth and a diagram of the interaction between them. In the Calculated Data window, you can view various information about the favorable of the elements, conductivity, constellations, cycles and the distribution of Chinese hours in a day. Using constant clocks, we get an even distribution of Chinese hours in a day, each of which corresponds to 2 astronomical hours. When using variable clocks, the duration of each Chinese hour will depend on the latitude of the place for which the calculations will be made, place of birth or calculation. The magic square of personality with different settings. Magic square for the calculated date with different settings. Symbolic stars for date of birth and calculated date. In the Next 12 window, you can look 12 steps ahead of the calculated date, the value of the elements of the hour, day, month and year, as well as the palaces of life, if the time of birth is used. The next 12 luck window displays the values of the luck for 120 years ahead. If you wish, you can read the forecasts that the application gives out for the calculated day, month and year, as well as personality characteristics. Forecasts, if desired, can be edited and saved to files. The help contains brief information on using the application and links to demonstration videos. Forecasts are saved in the Documents folder. The files of the common database are also stored there. Forecast files can be viewed and, if necessary, sent to friends and acquaintances. Features of use on a tablet. Windows can be moved by grabbing the title bar. The application remembers the state of the windows, visibility and position, and reproduces the next time it starts. When you open Windows, they will be located in the place where you installed them. Thank you for your time.